What's a mistake that ended up benefiting you? I mean, I just had Best Buy deliver a new TV and paid to have my old one heavy unmounted and moved to another room, but didn't pay to have the new one half the weight mounted because it was another $250 for about 11 minutes worth of work for me. The delivery folks unmounted the old one, moved it to the other room and mounted it, then mounted the new one before wrapping up, looking at the paperwork, and going, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh well man, enjoy your new TVs." I tipped them both $20 immediately. I don't think they were allowed to accept it, but who was stopping them? Interviewing for a job offer. Recruiter asked what my last drawn salary was. I gave a rough figure, and they assumed that figure did not include bonuses when it did. I got a 40 raise from that offer. Back in 1996, I was in Miami with my family. On the day we were supposed to come back, we overslept and missed our flight to Atlanta. That flight? Well, it exploded not even 15 minutes after takeoff and killed everyone on board. It was the deadliest plane crash in Florida history. We had our manager get fired, and then the company had a hard time filling his job. Managers of other locations didn't want our office tacked onto them since we had terrible numbers, and the manager never got bonuses. So we'd report to some guy working a few towns over who we might never see in person just via phones and email, then we'd get handed off to another boss who we'd never see. The first time we got a new temp boss, I called him to ask how much time off I had left. He told me 2 weeks, which I thought was weird since I knew I had used some. But whatever, I asked if I could take it all off, and he said sure. Then he left and we got a new boss, so I asked him how much vacation time I had. He said 2 weeks. I took 8 weeks off that year and no one ever noticed. It wasn't a mistake as such, but one time we went with my mother to buy school shoes. They left my sister and I about 8 or 10 years old standing in line to pay, and a woman simply cut in. And even though we told her, she totally ignored us. When it was our turn to pay, we won a computer in a drawing to be the person number X who paid. So thank you mom, I guess. One semester in college there was a housing shortage, so I was put in a hotel room on campus with another student. My paperwork said I could move in on Saturday morning. However, I was scheduled to work both Saturday and Sunday morning at my job that was right next to my parents' house, so I just figured on moving in on Sunday when I got out of work. About a week before move-in, the manager called me and said there had been a mistake, and I actually wasn't going to be able to move in until Sunday now. Before I got a chance to say that I didn't care and wasn't planning on moving in until Sunday anyway, they said that for the inconvenience, they were going to give me a 150 credit in the restaurant for food. I thanked them and told them I could rearrange my move-in to make it work for Sunday instead. Mom sent me to the local Albertsons to get dish soap. Keep in mind this is back when they still did video rental. I go to the aisle with the dish soap. My mom sent me with just enough money to buy the dish soap. I think I was like 12. Anyway, I get to the cash register and they ring up the soap, but the price isn't what it was on the shelf, and I'm worried because I'm not sure I have enough. So I say something and they check. Since their system rang it up wrong, store policy that I didn't know about means it's free. So now I have the dish soap given me by the manager and I still have the money. So I decided I was going to prank my mom. I went and rented a movie I knew our family had been wanting to see. Then I walked home, and when I came in I pulled the tape out of my backpack, proudly showing off the great rental I picked up. As my mom was about to lose it, I pulled out the soap and told her what happened. Scalp's 20th row seats for a Sinatra show when I was a teenager, and the scalping agency mailed me front row seats. Fantastic show. Confused mobster seated next to us. Failing to pay for my license plate stickers on time. But for some reason they sent me new ones anyways, so free registration and stickers this year. 40 years ago the bank did not register a $400 withdrawal from my account. 3 years ago my HR department changed their computer system and gave me double annual leave. I questioned them if their records were correct, and they insisted they were. I guess I can talk about it now. Many years ago my paycheck was supposed to be $443.21 and a zero got added to it. I never said anything and they never caught it. I was paid $432.10 another time. I took a $2,000 signature loan at my bank and had only made 2 payments when the bank was sold. After a month I called the new bank and asked how to make the payment. The man told me to wait for a statement in the mail. I asked what would happen if they didn't send me a statement. He repeated, "Wait for the statement, sir." That was 2015-ish and I'm still waiting. Our fridge went out 10 days before Thanksgiving 2023, lost all of our food and everything. Ordered a cheap new fridge and delivered 8 days before Thanksgiving. 5 days before Thanksgiving, our front door camera starts going off at 7:30 a.m. with notification, then another and another within a few minutes. Look at the notification and it's a Kroger food delivery dropping off 15 bags of groceries that we never ordered. Contacted Kroger immediately saying it wasn't our order and Kroger told us to keep it. Ended up being a whole family's Thanksgiving meal and completely restocked our fridge with zero cost. Once during a lecture the lecturer asked if anyone knew when the Battle of Agincourt was a lecture series with very diverse lectures, not focused on history. I raised my hand and answered 14-15 with the intention of saying it was during the 14th or 15th century, but turned out it happened exactly in 1415, and the lecturer figured that's what I said. Didn't benefit from it really, but it was funny that everyone thought I was way more of a history buff than actually was the case. Getting dumped by the woman I thought I loved and wanted to marry. It was a hard lesson, but totally worth the pain. I got sober, went to therapy and learned a lot about myself. I'm such a different person than I was 4 years ago and so much happier now. Got an extra burger and fries with my delivery. I recently went on holiday and was compensated for the pool at the hotel being closed. We turned up, the pool was fine. 60 quid off the holiday, thank you very much. I inherited some funds and paid off my home against the advice of my financial advisor. It was the most liberating thing I've ever done. Bought a washer and dryer 20 years ago, expensive then, like $3K. They delivered them and installed. I bought them on a new store credit card, which I received. I started getting statements with no balance, so I called them and they showed no balance, charges, or purchase. Being honest to a fault, I tried explaining to them over the next month at least a dozen times that yes, I had in fact purchased a washer and dryer from them, and they were actually in my house. They couldn't find any record of purchase and eventually told me, oh well, we don't see anything on our side, so enjoy. I still feel guilty. The police wrote a parking summons for me, but they put the wrong license plate. Hence I was never required to pay for it. My son was in a car accident, a bad one. His seatbelt actually malfunctioned and came unclipped. He was ejected from the car and suffered a ton of injuries. Broken back in 4 places, broke every bone in his right arm and severed blood vessels. Internal injuries to his kidneys and liver and traumatic brain injury. Those are the major injuries. There were several other non-life-threatening injuries. But the point of this is that the passenger side where he was seated was crushed, and had he been there, he wouldn't have survived. Being ejected from the car actually saved his life.